All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we are unpacking a literal invisible cyber war that's happening right behind your smartphone screen. If you've ever used a digital wallet or a mobile payment app, you might think the biggest risk is, accidentally dropping your phone. But as we're about to see from our source material, there is a massive, highly sophisticated battlefield operating in the background. The way these platforms have to protect you is fundamentally changing because honestly, traditional security just isn't cutting it anymore.
Get a load of this number, 1,550%. That's not a typo. That represents a terrifying, staggering surge. According to the research, that is the exact increase in AI-driven deepfake fraud, specifically targeting the fintech sector. So we aren't just talking about scammers calling you on the phone trying to trick you anymore. We are dealing with industrialized cyber warfare, where generative AI is literally being used to bypass the very systems designed to keep our money safe. Okay, Section 1, the digital wallet poly crisis. To understand why this is happening right now, we really have to look at the sheer scale of the battlefield. Southeast Asia's digital economy is absolutely booming. Take Indonesia's digital payments market, for instance. It's estimated to hit over $115 billion in 2025, and then is projected to just rocket past $256 billion by 2030. When you have transaction velocity happening at that kind of mind-blowing scale, millions of microtransactions firing off every single second, it creates a massive, irresistible target for cybercriminals.
But the threat isn't just external hackers. It's also a massive socioeconomic epidemic. Right alongside the rapid growth of legitimate payments is the macroeconomic threat of online gambling, which is colloquially known in Indonesia as judal. The data points to a staggering projected turnover of 1,200 trillion Indonesian rupiah in illicit gambling funds by the end of 2025. This huge flow of money relies heavily on domestic digital wallets to move around, which creates immense regulatory pressure to intercept those illegal financial streams.
Moving on to Section 2, why static compliance fails.
So the crucial point here is that with these massive threats and the surge in deepfakes, the old ways of verifying and protecting users, those static compliance checkpoints are completely breaking down. Let's look at the anatomy of an on-device fraud attack because it's fascinating and honestly, a little scary. Since traditional security is pretty good at blocking fake devices, criminals now just attack your legitimate device. Step 1, they use social engineering, like sending a fake digital wedding invite to trick you into downloading malware. Step 2, that malware hijacks your phone's accessibility permissions, which are actually features meant to help disabled users. Step 3, when you open your wallet app, it projects a pixel-perfect fake login screen right over the real one to steal your PIN. And finally, Step 4, using automated transfer systems, the malware literally drives your phone in the background, stealing your funds while your screen looks completely turned off. Wild, right?
And this brilliantly illustrates a major vulnerability. Traditional active liveness is officially dead. You know the drill, when an app asks you to blink or smile or slowly turn your head to prove you're an actual human? That's active liveness. The problem is advanced AI deepfakes can now easily mimic those exact scripted gestures in real time. Plus, it's super annoying for real users, causing a lot of them to just abandon the app out of frustration. It is a total lose-lose situation.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, the passive liveness solution.
To solve this paradox of high friction and failing security, top-tier fintechs have aggressively shifted to a new standard. Enter passive liveness. Think of it as an invisible shield. It verifies that you are a real, living, breathing human being without ever asking you to jump through hoops. Instead of making you blink or smile, the app just captures a standard, totally frictionless selfie frame or a tiny background video. You literally do absolutely nothing extra. Yet the security happening behind the scenes is exponentially stronger.
So while you think you're just snapping a normal selfie, the AI is silently performing this incredible microanalysis. It's checking texture, mapping 3D depth, evaluating exactly how the light reflects off your skin, and looking for natural skin tone variances. Most importantly, it is scanning for pixel-level anomalies and synthetic artifacts that the human eye would miss entirely, but that instantly flag a generative AI deepfake or a digital mask.
What this allows top digital wallets to do is create a hybrid liveness architecture. For the vast majority of legitimate users, they just breeze right through the frictionless passive liveness flow. They're onboarded in seconds. But if the risk engine detects something even a little bit weird, like a VPN, a known risky device, or an IP mismatch, it dynamically throws in those active step-up challenges. So legitimate users get zero friction, while high-risk connections get heavily scrutinized.
All right, Section 4, Smart Friction breaks the loop.
Okay, so passive liveness keeps the bots and deepfakes out. But what happens when the technology isn't hacked, but the human user is the one being manipulated? Instead of just blindly blocking accounts the second suspicious activity is detected, which usually just makes customers furious, modern platforms use what's called smart friction. They translate their risk policy into dynamic product features, intentionally throwing up a digital speed bump right in the user interface to pause a high-risk transaction.
I absolutely love this quote from our source material because it really hits on the psychology of cybersecurity. By deliberately interrupting the transaction with a warning screen and demanding explicit consent to continue, the app is actually performing a psychological intervention. It's designed to snap the victim out of their trance, explicitly breaking the cognitive momentum of a user who might be stuck in a gambling loop or who is currently on the phone being pressured by a scammer. It forces a mandatory moment of rational reevaluation.
And you know what? The proof is right here in the data. By deploying this smart friction, digital wallets like Donna successfully reduced online gambling-related transactions on their platform by a massive 80%. Instead of freezing accounts and locking up funds, they just forced the user to pause and think for a second, and that alone neutralized the vast majority of the threat.
Finally, let's head into Section 5, Trust as a Competitive Moat. Ultimately, all of these defenses build the absolute foundation for the future of digital finance. Because this isn't just about stopping the bad guys, it is fundamentally about building trust. Conceptually, you can see exactly how human behavior reacts to these measures. When you provide strong, structural assurance, those technical and legal safeguards like passive liveness and encryption, it directly boosts the user's perception of security. That builds trust. And when trust goes up, the user's fear of financial or privacy risks goes down, making them way more likely to actually use the platform.
But of course, trust also requires your foundation to be rock solid legally, not just technically. Users are only going to hand over their sensitive information if they know you are legally bound to protect it. In Indonesia, for example, that means strict adherence to the new Personal Data Protection or PDP law. It means ditching those sneaky pre-checked boxes and demanding explicit consent. It means getting ISO 2701 certifications and integrating with certified identity providers to make sure digital identities are actually legally binding. So, that leaves us with one final, incredibly critical question to ponder today. Is your digital wallet merely compliant, or is it truly secure? Because as we've explored throughout this explainer, just checking boxes for regulators is nowhere near enough to stop a 150% surge in AI deepfakes or sophisticated on-device malware. In today's highly perilous digital reality, predicting threats and building deep structural trust isn't just some regulatory tax, it is absolutely the ultimate competitive advantage. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and I will catch you on the next one.